Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. So much happened yesterday. Gervonta Davis had his press conference. I think he turned up 4 or 5 hours late. No Calvin Ford, his trainer. No Leonard Ellaby. I think he turned up by himself, which was strange. And then he went on to say that 2025 will be his last year in the sport, that he's going to retire. I did see an interview backstage after the press conference, and he kind of elaborated on that as to why he will retire. Whether or not he will, I don't know, but he said he will. And he said he wants to get therapy, and he feels like he can't get therapy unless he leaves the sport of boxing. He's got young kids, and he wants to be the best father he can for those kids. And if he continues fighting, then the therapy won't work, or something along those lines. And look, it kind of made sense to me. I just feel, though, that he doesn't really love the sport of boxing. He's very good at it, but he doesn't really love it. And if you just kind of understand it from a job perspective, like, I think we look at it and think, okay, he makes so much money, blah, blah, blah. But just from a job perspective, how many of us understand that we're good at our job, but it doesn't mean we like our job? Like, some people just don't like it. And I feel like that's the same with Gervonta. He knows he's good at it, but the love for it is gone. And he's been doing it since he was, 6 or 7, and maybe he just doesn't want to do it anymore. And it is disappointing because he's clearly one of the biggest names in the sport. Must be top 3 or top 4 when it comes to sort of revenue and bums on seats and pay-per-view draw, etc., etc. So it is disappointing when one of the biggest names leaves the sport, especially if they leave it when they've still got so much to offer. There's so many big fights out there that we'd like to see Gervonta have. And I'm not talking about the March 1st fight against LAMONT Roach. I mean, Shakur Stevenson, potentially big fights at 140. But I don't know. It's strange. It's a strange one with Tank. He's deleted all his Instagram posts. He just seems to be in a space where maybe he does need to take some time away from the sport. Again, yesterday was very weird to see him turn up to a press conference by himself. I actually like it. I don't think fighters need the big entourage, but it was weird not to see Leonard there. Not to see Leonard and Calvin. All the rest, not needed. But Leonard and Calvin's kind of strange. So, yeah, I do wonder if this March 1st fight will happen. Remember, it's been pushed back before. I do wonder if, when a fighter is talking about leaving the sport, and I don't know, am I reading into maybe too much that Leonard and Calvin weren't there? I just kind of wonder if maybe Gervonta won't have this fight. He's not really interested in it. There's no spark there. I feel like he wasn't that interested in Frank Martin, but Frank Martin spoke so much shit, he got interested. LAMONT Roach isn't really that. I know they've got their history as amateurs. I think they fought 2 or 3 times. Gervonta's won all of those times, but there just doesn't seem to be anything there. There doesn't. And sometimes I just look at these fights, and look, Gervonta gets paid a lot of money. Sometimes I look at these fights and I think, how on earth do they even make a return on them? Because I don't think this fight does great numbers on pay-per-view, even though Gervonta is a star. I do think he needs a dance partner still. And I don't know if gate receipts are going to be enough. So, yeah, look, I'm disappointed. He also did a few sit-down interviews after. I think it was one. It was like a little scrum. And someone asked about Shakur, as they should. And he always bites when someone asks about Shakur. It seems to annoy him. And I don't know why, because Shakur is the number 2 in the division, right? I mean, you can have a debate about Shakur and Vasily Lomachenko, but Shakur, I think, is number 2 in the division. Why does he always bite when people ask him about him fighting number 2? Gervonta is considered number 1. And people say, okay, when are you going to fight number 2? It's like the obvious question. And he always seems to bite, and he says, what the fuck has Shakur done? Like, what's he done in the sport of boxing? And then he went on to say Keyshawn's done more, but Keyshawn hasn't even done anything. And I'm like, dude, you can't keep sort of throwing away your contenders, the ones that we want to see you fight. Like, people would rather see Keyshawn Davis than LAMONT Roach, and people would obviously rather see Shakur Stevenson. So, yeah, I find Gervonta strange. Again, I respect him as a fighter. I think he's a fantastic character. He's now grown into his own, right? Before, it was almost as though he couldn't answer the tough questions and Floyd would jump in or Leonard would jump in. He's certainly his own man now, but yeah, he just either doesn't want those fights for some reason. I don't know why, because I think he can beat Shakur, and I certainly think at this stage he can beat Keyshawn, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with Gervonta. But again, what we today, the 3rd or 4th of December, I don't think that fight happens against Lamont Roach. I don't. I really don't. For whatever reason, I just feel like, and you know, Gervonta's never pulled out of a fight before, but when you're talking about retiring, and when your trainer doesn't turn up to the press conference and your manager doesn't turn up to the press conference, I think there could be a bit more in there. Just my own personal opinion. I said yesterday was a busy day for boxing because obviously me and Ariel do our shows every Tuesday, and we're doing the show, we're just moving along with it, and it's a good conversation. We're talking about the February 22nd card, and my phone starts going and I can see it. So I'm looking down the camera, but I can kind of see it in my periphery that my phone's starting to ring, and it's a strange number. And Ariel, I can see Ariel as we're talking, he's not really focused on what I'm saying. He's looking at his phone as well. I'm like, okay, something's going on here. And it was Turki. Turki wanted to get on the show. He was calling to get on the show. He was watching, which is good, I guess, right? I mean, when the big man is watching your show, I mean, yeah, that's not a bad thing. And he wanted to get on to clarify a couple of things, because me and Ariel were just chucking out things about why is Boots not on there? Why is Madrimov sort of fighting Virgil when he's got a fight December 21st, which is less than 3 weeks now? And he came on and clarified everything. If you've not seen the episode, please go and watch the episode, because obviously I can't give you everything he said, but it's there. Basically, he said that Boots just didn't answer the call. He said Boots agreed to do it and then stopped answering the call. That's his words, not me, not Ariel, not Eddie. That's what Turki said. And then he said he wanted to give Virgil a fight. He was desperate to keep Virgil on the card because he promised Virgil another fight. And he likes Madrimov. He says he likes Madrimov, and because of Madrimov's performance against Terence, he promised Madrimov that he will give him something big. And he said, look, he asked Madrimov, can you fight Boychuk and then fight Virgil? And Madrimov says, yeah, providing I come through unscathed, no injuries, I'm happy to go straight to Virgil. And that's why he got him on the card. He says he wants to make Vladimir Klitschko, I think there was rumors about Vladimir Klitschko versus Daniel Dubois. He says Vladimir Klitschko versus Tyson Fury. Again, go and listen to the conversation. And he basically said that there are so many people that are waiting for the Fury fight, like so many. He says obviously AJ Fury, Daniel Dubois wants a bit of Fury if Daniel Dubois gets past Parker, and Vladimir Klitschko wants a bit of Fury as well. Remember, Vladimir Klitschko was supposed to have that rematch with Tyson Fury, which fell through. So yeah, a couple of interesting things. There will be a show in March, he said, and there will be a show outside of Saudi Arabia again. Didn't say where. Mentioned Martin Bakoli being on that show. I pushed and said, oh, Riyadh Season Africa. He said no, they are working on a Riyadh Season Africa card for the back end of 2025, early 2026, but this one won't be in Africa. Not quite sure then. Could it be in the UK? If it is in the UK, my money is they're working on Riyadh Season card, which will be headlined by Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. That's what I think. I can't think of, especially if it's over here, unless it's AJ versus someone, and I don't think AJ is going to run to Bakoli, then the only other people that I think could headline is Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, unless you guys can think of someone else. So yeah, interesting to see, or for Turki to jump on. Again, it's good for us. That means he's watching the shows, which is good. But he came on, he spoke about Francis Ngannou versus John Jones and him wanting to make that fight as well. Loads going on with Turki. Again, go and watch the interview. It was a good one. All right, let's have a quick look and see what else there is to talk about. Devin Haney is overhyped, says Richardson Hitchens. He's not the guy you think he is. He's not overhyped. He's not. Devin Haney's a good fighter. What are we doing? Devin Haney's a good fighter. Richardson Hitchens, my man, get past Liam Parrow first and then the talking, please. I'm always nervous when fighters start to do this before they've had their acid test. And Hitchens' acid test is Liam Parrow. And I think we've seen with Liam Parrow, we saw it with Montana Love fight. We saw it with the Subriel Matias fight. That guy, no joke. Sometimes I think they look at him and think that this guy is guy's no joke, Liam Parrow. He's a tough guy. Fight this week that no one's talking about. And maybe I should be bigging it up. Emmanuel Navarrete versus Oscar Valdez is going under the radar. Like under the radar, severely under the radar. Great fight, that one. We'll do a video about that tomorrow. Guys, I am, what's the time? Time is 10:30. I leave in 2 hours to do a Premier League match. I'm presenting a Premier League match again. Did it last year. I'm doing it this year as well for Amazon Prime. I'm doing Southampton, Chelsea. So I'm making my way down to the South Coast in a couple of hours. So feel free to watch it. Kick off at 7:30. All right. Terence Crawford will be sidelined until May due to injury. Yes, I asked the question yesterday to Turkey and he gave me the answer. Because I said, look, anything with regards to Terence Crawford and Canelo, he says, hasn't heard from Canelo. He says he wants to cut out the middlemen and go directly to Canelo. And he still wants to make that fight. But obviously, Crawford out. Crawford out until May is interesting because we know when Canelo fights. Maybe there's something going on there. What else have we got? Gavin Gwynn, even Cameron Vong knows I deserve the decision. I didn't speak about this fight. Cameron Vong, they need to slow this down a little bit. I get it. A very good prospect, has bags of potential, but what's the rush? I am so confused. Look, how old is Cameron Vong? I'm going to say 22. And they put him in with Gavin Gwynn. And Gavin Gwynn was very recently a British, Commonwealth and European champion. 22. He's 22. What's going on here? Like, am I missing something? Like, is there, I don't know, is there a contract thing where, I don't know, he gets a certain amount of money per fight and he has to take big fights because he's getting big money? I don't know, but I don't understand why they're rushing him. Like, I would have thought they would have learned from the Jeff Ofori fight where, okay, maybe he needs to kind of just slow the pace down a bit. Because that was a fight where, look, at the end, and I said this on the broadcast, a few people booed the result. More than a few booed the result. A lot of people thought Gavin Gwynn won. I think even Eddie Hearn said it. So I think they might need to either, like, look, a rematch is possible. I wouldn't go there. Or just slow it down. Like, what are we doing? You know, is he trying to break some record or something? I don't understand. Slow it down and let's not kill him. Bloody hell, man. It's crazy. Teofimo Lopez. Devin Haney ignored good, reasonable offer. I don't know if Teofimo and his team are in a position to be sending offers. Like Teofimo, as much as he is a good... Teofimo is a strange one, you know, because Teofimo, I think, is so good. I think he's so good. He's a bit outrageous, talks a bit of smack. He just doesn't seem to have a big following. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Teofimo, for what he's done in the sport, Teofimo, I think, should almost be that guy that guarantees to sell out arenas, does good numbers on pay-per-view. Not crazy numbers, but good numbers. But he just doesn't seem to be that guy. Like, when I had George Kambosos on the show last week, George was saying it as well. Like, okay, Teo, yes, you're a good fighter. I think you gave him his respect, but you do nothing in terms of numbers, which shocks me. It's just, is it luck? I mean, because he's an entertaining fighter. Again, he is entertaining out the ring. I don't understand it. But as for him sending Devin Haney an offer, I just don't know if it works like that. It's a fight I'd want to see, and it's a fight that makes sense for both right now. If you're Devin, you've got to be very careful. You're coming off a defeat, right? Teo's the best in the division. I truly believe that. So you've got to be careful about what next. But yeah, I don't know. Very bad news and sad news as well. Israel Vasquez passed away. Long battle with cancer. I didn't even know that was the case. I think Vasquez was only 44 or 45. He passed away recently. I remember his fights with Rafael Marquez. 4 fights with Marquez. One of those fights, I think it was the second one that he won by stoppage, was, I think, Fight of the Year. Ring Magazine gave it the Fight of the Year. I think round 4 or 5 in that fight was Round of the Year. Ring Magazine gave it Round of the Year as well. One of the best super bantamweights, 3-time world champion, held the IBF title for, I think, 4 or 5 defenses, then won the WBC title, then won the IBF title back, I believe. True Mexican warrior. You know, when you think of what a Mexican fighter is, Israel Vasquez is definitely that. I think a GoFundMe page has been started. Obviously, look, leaves behind a family, so if anyone can donate, please try and donate. I'll try and put the link to the GoFundMe page in the description if I can find it. But yeah, very, very sad news. But because he was a Ring Magazine champion, hopefully, and they should, obviously we've got a couple of big Riyadh season events coming, none bigger than December 21st. Hopefully they can recognize him and do something, because yeah, he was a great champion who just put on great fights, right? Great fights. One of the best super bantamweights of that generation. And it's a sad day when anyone passes, but when it's someone that you grew up watching passes, it kind of feels strange. But yeah, Israel Vasquez passed away, long-term battle with cancer. All right, guys, girls, I've got to shoot because we have a busy day ahead. Peace.